All right, but yeah, here we are with Dana White's Contender Series, episode 6, season 8. This should be a really fun one. We've got some good fights here. And honestly, when these odds dropped, I was really surprised because I had several underdogs winning these fights here relative to market consensus. So this is going to be a fun one. Let's jump into it.
All right, let's walk on into it. So we got Urinato versus I can't say these names.
Yeah.
But how's this fight going to go down? Explain it to me. Looks like we got some power on the right here, and variety on the left.
Yeah, so this is one of the first fights where I'm kind of like, I was surprised at the odds here. Atiba in most markets pretty much reflects the PredictionStrike prices you see here. He is about a 1.5 to 1 underdog right now, I believe. It's 50 cents cheaper than his opponent, Urinato, on PredictionStrike. He fights out of Manchester Top Team. And Gauthier has won 4 straight, hasn't lost since July of 2022. Naito has won 2 straight fights via TKO as the regional champ. And I like Atiba here. I think the UFC likes Atiba a lot. Like, it seems like they've been expanding into the African market a lot. So this is someone they might want to push there. Style-wise, Naito is basically 100% a grappler from what I've seen. Like, a lot of his finishes come by ground and pound, shoots really, really clean offensive takedowns straight down the middle. People do seem like they're able to get back up on him a lot of the time. And I think he just kind of, like, as fights go on, he resorts to takedowns more and more. He just continues shooting them. That's like his go-to when he gasses out a little bit. And Atiba is a really strong guy, pretty big for middleweight. Not the best takedown defense, which I will concede is going to come into play against Urinato, who loves to grapple. But he is super strong, helps him get out of positions a lot of the time. And like I said, Ura is not the best at holding people down. I don't think he's going to let Naito have a ton of top control here. He throws bombs on the feet. I think he's live to catch Ura pretty much at any point in this fight. It's a Contender Series fight. We know we can expect them to come out swinging, come out live. He has great kicks too. Dropped an opponent with a head kick, absolute brawler. So I love the way he's been improving. He's not just like, throws bombs type of guy. He seems to be getting more and more technical. So I'm going with the exciting striker in Atiba.
Like it.
Yeah, next one here, we've got a big favorite in Taliesin Teixeira going up against Arthur Lopez. Grant, do you have the odds for this one pulled up?
The consensus ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like -800 for Teixeira.
Wow, yeah. So Teixeira just, like, becoming an increasing favorite. I think the last time I looked at these was yesterday, and it was in the -600 zone. So Teixeira just becoming a bigger and bigger favorite as we get closer to the fight. And Arthur Lopez is a guy who has been winning, albeit like relative to Teixeira, at least low level of competition fights. Doesn't seem to have the best top control in his grappling. Not very good striking either, from what I've seen, at least for a heavyweight, who we know, like, a lot of the time aren't even that great at striking anyways. Teixeira, he has problems with technical strikers sometimes in the past. He's very sloppy on the feet. I will say he's probably going to get caught at some point in his career, but I don't think it's going to be here against Arthur Lopez. He can wrestle well. He has decent BJJ, probably better top control than Arthur Lopez. I just think he looks better, a little bit better everywhere, and it's obviously reflected in the odds of this fight. He's the more technical fighter of the two. Just don't really see a path to victory for Arthur Lopez, kind of as the odds would suggest. So going.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this fight. Teixeira is listed at 6'8", which is a crazy build for the UFC. You don't really see that often. You see that in like heavyweight boxers with the Tyson Furies of the world and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. 81-inch reach, I feel like, is something that we haven't even seen almost ever in the UFC. Like, the current heavyweights are nowhere near that height. So, I mean, this should be an interesting one. I think this is a good spot. The price isn't too juiced. You're definitely getting better value on PS than you would elsewhere. So if you like Teixeira as a prospect going forward as well, or you think he gets a contract or whatnot, I feel like this is a good spot to get in now.
Yeah, easy jumping on point right here. Cool.
Moving on to the next fight. We got Benjamin Bennett versus Joey Hart. One name that I can actually pronounce. Well, two I can actually pronounce here. How are we going through this one?
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun fight. I think this will be one of the more exciting ones on the card. We've got Joey the Hitman, 6-1, 6 knockouts, never been finished before. Used to fight at middleweight before changing to welterweight. Bennett has won 3 straight. Pro boxer in the past, regional champion. And Joey Hart is a really, really good prospect, in my opinion. He kind of gives like Peyton Talbot vibes. He's super exciting, very creative, kind of a rangy striker, technical as well, definitely not boring. As you can tell by 6 KOs in his 6 wins. Kind of an unorthodox striking style, very diverse arsenal of standing attacks. Bennett is also a very good prospect, in my opinion. He kind of has trouble finding success and managing range in his striking early. I think he's probably going to end up shooting takedowns here a lot of the time against a guy like Joey Hart, who's so polished on the feet. And I think ultimately Hart should be able to control the pace, control the range in the striking department. And Bennett will probably end up trying to take it to the ground at some point. Yeah, so I like Joey Hart here. He's a really good prospect, might be my favorite prospect on this whole card.
Yeah, this one has a chance to end in a pretty electric fashion too as well. High finish inside the distance potential in this fight. And I think that Joey Hart's a skilled enough striker to back him and get this one done. You see a lot of fighters come into this who are the good strikers who tend to leave themselves open a little bit, and I don't see Hart being too brash in this fight. I think he kind of can play at his own pace, but then also kind of push the tempo when it's necessary and land the right strikes to potentially get a finish here. So I am in agreement with you.
Cool. Let's go, Joey. And yeah, pretty chill prices on PS for him here. 325 versus 275.
On to the next bout. We've got Aaron Tao versus Elijah Smith. What's going on here? Why is that an actual tattoo or is that war paint?
No, it's an actual tattoo. This dude's an animal.
Crazy.
I was wondering the same thing when I was first looking into him, but yeah, it's truly a tattoo. Kind of sick. Obviously, some like Maori type vibes or something of the sorts. But yeah, he is from Australia. Fights out of City Kickboxing.
I think he's from New Zealand. They tend to take that personally.
Yeah, that's my bad. I do that all the time though with the Oceania.
I don't want Aaron Tao showing up at your doorstep.
Yeah. Sorry, from New Zealand, fights out of City Kickboxing. Very familiar association for us. Wolf, Gizzy, Kai Kara, Olberg, Tao, out of New Zealand. Smith taking this fight on short notice. He looks good. He's won 3 straight fights via finish. Tao has won 5 straight via finish. He's a regional champ. There's a pretty big age gap between these two guys. I think it's 9 years. Elijah, wait, what are the odds on this one, Grant, right now? I feel like
Tao's like a pretty slight underdog. I believe it's like 160-ish.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we've got Tao as the slight underdog here to Elijah Smith, who's taking this on short notice. And if you watch Tao, he has big, heavy strikes, good hooks, tight, likes to fight in the clinch a lot of the time, decent wrestler. Elijah Smith also has a wrestling background, definitely has some nice striking as well. Good job changing levels in his wrestling. Tao, he kind of needs to work the fight into the clinch to get it done. Not the best at striking from range, but I honestly do think that can happen here because I don't think Elijah will be opposed to wrestling here, especially with his background. Like Aaron Tao can wrestle. That's not really his forte though. So I see if Aaron Tao is putting it together on the feet, I see Elijah probably trying to work in some of the wrestling, which I think actually opens more opportunities up for Aaron Tao, just stylistically. The short notice step up too is something I have questions about for Elijah. I mean, I don't think it's crazy short notice, but it is short notice. I think he's going to make it a really exciting fight. Tao does have some experience, got it done against Paul Loga faster than Cody Haddon, who we saw who also fought Paul Loga, was able to do it when they fought, and Cody Haddon just got the UFC contract on, I think it was episode 4 of Contender Series. So I'm going to trust the talent that we've seen coming out of this region so far and go with the underdog in Tao here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's always crazy seeing heights. Like seeing that dude's 5'3" is a crazy concept.
I know. And sometimes I get sus about with these kind of regional guys and prospects, like the SureDog stats on them, but I think he actually is that tiny.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see tomorrow, but yeah. I like the lean. I think this is a good underdog shout.
Yeah. Especially and it's with that height difference too, it's going to be hard for Elijah to wrestle him too much, I think.
Yeah.
So
also, I'm assuming Smith is 9 years younger, like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
So plenty of opportunities for him to come back in and get another shot in the Contender Series later. It feels like an interesting chance to come in on short notice, considering he's young and his record looks pretty good so far. It feels like maybe not the smartest choice, but I mean, he could easily get it done. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
All right, on to the next bout. We've got Dylan Montello versus Ahmad Hassanzada. I think that was correct. Yeah, so walk me through how this one is going to be. It looks like we have somebody that knows how to use their ground game on the right.
Yep, for sure. We've got this is the main event, so two kind of more experienced guys. You might be able to tell by their prediction strike prices that both of these guys have already been on the app before this. We've had some Contender Series performances. Hassanzada is 11-3, 5 KOs, 5 subs, been KO'd twice in his career. He lost to Nazim Sadikov on Contender Series last season and has won 2 straight since then. Past 2 wins are both finishes as well. Montello, aka the Quiet Man, lost to Kanan Kraszewski on Dana White's Contender Series. So I'm not gonna discredit their losses on Contender Series too much, because we know those are 2 good fighters. Those have aged well. Kanan just joined Fighting Nerds. He's a great young prospect. We know Nazim Sadikov well. So reasonably so, these guys lost, and reasonably so, they're getting a second chance here. I think one of these guys is going to make it through for a contract here, just because obviously Dana sees a lot of promise in both of these guys, bringing them back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a contract out of this fight. Ahmad will probably, is he the favorite here, Ahmad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say he should probably be the favorite here. And I think I like him to win too. Montello, he trains out of Ray Longo. You'd expect him to have really good wrestling. He doesn't have the most insane wrestling, especially for a wrestling-oriented gym. Ahmad got tapped super early against Sadikov. Couldn't get the wrestling going. Most of his takedowns aren't straight. They're kind of clinchy. Offensive takedowns aren't the best. And when Dylan went up against Kanan, he did not look like a good grappler. He looked out of place, and albeit Kanan is a very good fighter, and that was before Kanan's move to the Fighting Nerds, but he just did not look good at all on the mat in that fight. And I'm sure he has developed a good bit since he's at that association, but I think Ahmad should be the one getting takedowns here. I think his BJJ skills are better, a good amount better than Dylan's. He does pull guard sometimes, which is kind of annoying. You don't like to see that, but great sub skills. I could easily see Montello getting caught in the sub here from Ahmad. I think that's probably where I would lean.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I got Hassanzada by sub here. I feel like he kind of just got a tough draw in the last Contender Series fight against Sadikov. And this feels like a spot where he can kind of get into the fight a little more, string together some takedowns, and kind of be on the offensive side of the takedown game, versus with Sadikov. That's a very experienced wrestler. And it's tough for him to kind of play his game when he was outmatched in his strongest area. And this feels like a spot where he should have the advantage and can kind of let the fight come to him and while shooting some takedowns and feel a little more comfortable in there. So I have the same lean as you.
Let's go.
Well, with that said, I know I wasn't as active. Bryce Young news just dropped, so I was trying to find the interview clips for that. So apologize for not being as active there. But yeah, Jackson and Grant always know how to set you right with these guys. Realistically, I'm sure they've helped you guys with your investments quite a bit over time here. So we'd appreciate if you dropped us a little subscribe to us. That would mean a lot. But until next time, hope you all had a great day. Look forward to watching this DWCS series. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.
Peace.